Yo, this skin's kind of drippy, bro.
Should be like that one guy that makes an Exalt video or something.
I think I should do that.
So you're looking to exalt the wizard.
So you're looking to exalt the wizard. Before I say anything, you're going to spend so much time and dedication doing this. Think about it. You're putting yourself into the same dungeon 75 times, multiplied by 8 stats, and that's like 600 runs. Majority of the time, you're going to die by not even looking at your screen and possibly sleep during raid leading calls in the dungeon that you're doing. Not to mention, you're going to get jumped by a stolen idol and complete every 1% of the time in that dungeon. After all that, are you still here? No? Okay, so you, the one-trick staff player that wants top damage in O3, wants to fully exalt Wizard. Well, you're in one heck of a ride. One of the reasons why Wizard is a good class to exalt is that it's easily accessible. It's literally the first class you unlock. A lot of the DPS items are easy to get. Think about it. Tablet, Paraspell, Feng Spell. Wait, that's the only and do not require you to endlessly farm and game dungeons for good damage. The range of the wizard is pretty far, so you'll be doing damage and not take a lot of damage, hopefully. So let's talk about items. There's a huge borderline between damage and survivability for most regular players of the game. I personally prefer damage above everything else, but I main a throwaway with the best ideal budget set. Right now, I'm wearing a tier 13, T6, tier 14, UBHP. If you want to add more damage, maybe experiment with other spells, robes and rings like the Paraspell, Anointed, and maybe Pyra. I don't even think anybody does Tomb of the Ancient anymore. Like, is there even a server for that? Just a reminder, this is very subjective and up to you if you prefer damage or survivability. So other items, for example, like the Source Stone, Esben Ring, Toga Picta, Gemstone, Soulless, Water Silk could be an option for you. For situational scenarios, essentially just swap out. Fungal Spell is great for non-moving target. Genesis is great for AoE clearing, as well as Superior for minion clear. People that enjoy getting top damage. EP is also a great swap out when bosses don't shoot projectiles and are able to be safely sat on. There are a lot of possibilities for sets, but you'll be the one that will decide what to wear. For the more sweaty, elitist side of the spectrum of the game, I would recommend a T14 with the EP swap out. You could bring Superior if you want. I would also have a Tablet and Parasite swap out, mostly if you're not good at spell bombing, you could swap out. Vesture for the main robe, and Crown/Horn. I would personally prefer Crown for DPS, but Horn could be better in terms of DPS and damage, only if you can proc the extra dex when you're above 90% HP. Forget about items, let's talk about Exiles a little more descriptively. So they're pretty broken in a sense that you're given damage for repeatedly and mindlessly finishing Exaltation dungeons. For every 1 Exalt in each stat, like 1 out of 5, you gain 2.5% damage boost up to a max of 10% when you're 4 out of 5 Exalt of each stat. If you finish the corresponding dungeon of each Exalt with the exact amount of runs, 40 runs you'll be 1 out of 5 of each Exalt stat, and in 400 runs you'll be 4 out of 5 of each Exalt stat. The best way to see this damage boost in perspective, because there's like a lot of numbers and stuff like that going on, but essentially if you do 1000 damage and have 4 out of 5 Exalts, you'll gain an extra 100 damage added, and that's not even including like spell damage and etc, because like those are like different variables that doesn't even add up in the exaltation area. Just imagine all those 100 stacking up to your variables of damage, and overall it's going to be stacking a lot pretty much. Okay, enough about Exalts and stuff like that. Let's talk about the other classes. So the other two staff ones, if you remember, Necro and Mystic. Necro and Wizard are pretty much the same, but obviously they have different abilities. So Necro is pretty much less DPS of Wizard unless you can grind for more of the endgame items that make it good. For example, Memento Mori and Corrupted Souls. Most of you guys call it the Cold Skull anyways. So the difference between Wizard and Mystic, obviously they got different abilities. For Mystic, you do more damage since you curse things and you give off 1.25 times damage buff, but it greatly improves team damage, and you want to do more damage, right? So there's no point in giving other people more damage since you want to get that top damage. The only Mystic spells that can damage on their own would be the Scorchium Stone and the Orb of Conquest, which both require hard grinding of specific dungeons and events. To conclude this video, Wizard is a phenomenal class if you want to do high amounts of damage. It is very reliant on the user to bring out the most damage potential of the class, and if you don't, I'm sorry to say this, but that's a skill issue. So looking back at all of this, now you're thinking, wow, I spent all my time playing on this one class and getting all these Exiles, and for what? A cool looking skin? Well, yeah, pretty much.